All right, let's talk about a challenge that pretty much every AEM developer bumps into when they move to the cloud service: asset processing. You've got this incredible, super scalable system in the cloud, but getting it to work the same way on your local machine, well, that's a whole other story. Let's dig in.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the huge architectural shift from classic AEM. Then, we'll break down how all this cloud processing magic actually happens. From there, we'll dive into the big disconnect developers are facing locally, and, most importantly, I'll walk you through a really clever fix for it.
First things first, to really get our heads around the local dev problem, we have to understand just how different things are now. We're talking about a move away from the old, familiar internal workflows to a completely new way of thinking in the cloud.
I mean, it's really a night and day difference. In classic AEM, everything happened inside a single instance. You'd upload a big video file, and the whole server would just groan under the pressure. But now, with AEM Cloud, all that heavy lifting gets offloaded to these external specialized microservices. This means AEM itself stays fast and responsive, and the whole system is just way more scalable and reliable.
Okay, so how does this new cloud-native process actually work under the hood? It's a pretty elegant system once you see it in action.
I love this analogy because it's spot on. The old way was like one super stressed chef trying to cook, chop, and plate everything at once. The new way? It's like having a massive professional kitchen crew, where one person only makes the sauce, another only grills the steak. You get the idea. The whole operation is just faster and more efficient.
And here's the really cool part of this whole flow. Notice how the main AEM instance barely even touches the big original asset file. You upload directly to cloud storage. AEM just acts like a traffic cop, telling the microservices, hey, there's a new file over there, go work your magic. The microservices do all the work and put the results back in storage. AEM just keeps track of it all. That's the secret to its performance.
Right, so this new system is awesome, super powerful, but how do you actually tell it what to do? This is where processing profiles come in, and they are neatly broken down into 3 different levels. And this is where the flexibility really shines. You've got the default tier, which is managed by Adobe. Think of these as the absolute basics needed for the AEM user interface to work right. Then, for most of your day-to-day needs, an admin can just hop into the UI and set up the standard tier. And for those really unique, complex requirements, that's when developers can get their hands dirty with the custom tier and write their own.
Okay, so you've set up all your profiles in the cloud. Your assets are looking perfect, life is good, and now it's time to build a new component on your local machine that actually uses those renditions. And this, right here, is where that classic developer headache begins.
So you've done your homework. You've followed the docs. You've got the AEM SDK up and running smoothly on your laptop. You are ready to write some code.
You pop over to Tools, then Assets. You're looking for that familiar Processing Profiles button so you can get things set up just like in the cloud. And it's just not there. It's gone.
And that's the heart of the issue, right there. The local AEM SDK is just the AEM author instance. That's it. That whole external kitchen crew of microservices? Yeah, they don't come included. This creates this massive gap where the renditions your code is expecting to find simply don't get created locally.
So what do? We are not going to try and rebuild Adobe's entire microservices stack on our laptops. That would be completely insane. No, instead, we're going to use a much smarter workaround to simulate what the cloud process does. And the solution, believe it or not, is to use an old friend, the damn update asset workflow. It still exists and runs on the local SDK. What we can do is create a custom process step for it that basically teaches this old workflow a new trick: how to read our cloud configuration files and act just like the microservices do.
So here's a play-by-play. When you upload an asset locally, this custom code kicks in. It's smart enough to look at the assets folder, find the same processing profile property the cloud uses, and then it reads the exact same configuration you have in your code base. Then, and this is the best part, it uses AEM's own built-in tools to create renditions that perfectly match the names and sizes of the ones in the cloud. It's a perfect local copycat.
All right, let's bring it all home and quickly recap the key things you really need to remember for your next AEM cloud project.
So here's your checklist. First, really embrace this new way of thinking about asset processing. Second, just accept that there's a gap between your local SDK and the cloud. Don't fight it. Instead, think simulate, don't replicate. Use that classic workflow engine as your tool. A little bit of custom code there is the absolute key to making your local environment behave just like the cloud, and it will save you so many headaches.
Look, by bridging this gap, you're getting rid of a major roadblock in AEM cloud development. You can finally build your components with total confidence, knowing that what you see locally is exactly what you'll get in production. It frees you up to stop worrying about the environment and focus on what you're actually supposed to be doing, building amazing digital experiences.